Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am very pleased to have Elaine Hall as my guest today. Elaine Hall, founder of the Miracle Project, is a pioneer in using inclusive theater and film to connect with individuals with autism. Elaine was a top Hollywood acting coach when her son was diagnosed. When traditional therapies didn't work, she developed an innovative, creative-based methodology, which is now evidence-based, to reach him. Recognized worldwide, she has spoken at the United Nations and been featured in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, on CNN, CBS, the Oprah Winfrey Network, and profiled in the Emmy-winning HBO documentary, Autism, the Musical. Elaine led training programs and neurodiverse summer camps at Brown University in San Francisco, Hong Kong, mainland China, and Argentina. Hall students, once too shy to even walk into a room of their peers, have now performed on the nation's most prestigious stages, such as Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall, the White House, and in TV shows such as Atypical, The Good Doctor, Parenthood, and Speechless. Elaine was recently invited to MC and participate on a panel at Sony Pictures where she acts as a consultant and on-set acting coach. She recently has returned from moderating 2 panels for World Autism Awareness Day at the United Nations where her son, Neil, who is non-speaking, presented using assistive technology. Elaine and her team are proud to be developing original musicals through Broadway licensing and leading inclusive theater and film classes based at the Wallace Annenberg Center for the Performing Arts, with classes throughout Los Angeles. Welcome, Elaine, and thank you so much for joining me today to discuss your amazing work in the autism and special needs community.
Thank you, Gilda. I feel so honored and delighted to be on your show. You give so much to the community, and I feel very excited to share my work with your listeners.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Elaine, for those very kind words. And believe me, they are much appreciated. So to get started, tell me, what is the Miracle Project and why did you create it?
The Miracle Project is a neurodiverse theater and film, expressive and performing arts program, and now also a social skills, job skills, life skills program for individuals of all abilities. It is fully inclusive, meaning that we have non-disabled as well as disabled peers creating and expressing together through the arts. I started the Miracle Project really by default. I was a TV and film acting coach, and I was called Coach E, but what I wanted more than anything was to be called Mama. And I wasn't able to give birth biologically, so I chose to adopt a child from where my heritage is from, which is Russia. I adopted this beautiful toddler and brought him back to the United States. I went to Russia and brought him back to the United States, and when he came to me, he spun around in circles. He stared at his hand for hours at a time. He opened and closed cupboards. And today we would know that those are the signs of autism. But this was 23 years ago, and I didn't know from autism. All I knew was that I wanted to reach my child. What does any mom want, right? But that connection. So I used what I knew best, which is the arts. And I joined him in his seemingly bizarre movements. If he would flap his hands, like sometimes individuals with autism do, I would flap with him. And we'd flap to the front of our face, we'd flap out to the side and be birds together and flap around the room together. And if he would spin in circles, I'd spin with him, and we'd make it ring around the rosies. We turned opening, closing cupboards into peekaboo and banging on things into creating drums and using creativity. Traditional therapists thought that I was kind of crazy, that I was co-signing and enabling his autism. But fortunately, there were doctors on the East Coast. I'm in LA. There were doctors, Dr. Stanley Greenspan, Dr. Barry Prezant, who really were doing innovative clinical and social interventions with individuals with autism. And when I went to see them with my son, I like to say they co-signed my insanity and encouraged me to follow my son's lead, that everything he was doing had a purpose, to make connection and relationship more important than anything. And I continued doing what I did when I would come back to the East Coast, back to the West Coast. But this time, I found that if I met him expressively, whenever I did, he would connect with me. So I wanted to do it more than just a couple of hours or minutes through my day. And I started training all of my theater friends and film friends into what I was learning about autism. And from that, we were able to, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, join my son's world. And using the arts, music, dance, drama, my lighting designer friends would come in, and I would trade acting classes for time to be with my son, with young actors. They were getting jobs in the business, and my son was emerging out of his shell, still with autism, still non-speaking, but connected, happy, participatory. And what does any mom want but that connection? So
Absolutely.
It was time for me to go. Yeah, it was time to go back into the workforce, and I didn't want to go back in the film business at that time. So I listened to an inner voice and started a theater company using the same methods that I created for my son, that to actually reach many more children and teens and now adults, using the arts to make profound connection and to build community. And that's the Miracle Project.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you something, Elaine, it doesn't sound crazy to me at all. It sounds incredibly validating and supportive and positive. I mean, what a wonderful, intuitive approach you've taken, and no wonder it has been so successful. So tell me a little bit more in terms of where you're based, where your students perform, and a little bit more about the programs that you offer and the social skills classes and so on.
Absolutely. Thank you. We're based in Los Angeles. Our artistic home is the Wallace Annenberg Center for the Performing Arts, which is a beautiful state-of-the-art theater. I always used to see in my son's special ed class and some of his after-school programs, the kids with special needs were, well, those that were, the typically developing peers were getting these beautiful stages with all kinds of, costumes, and our kids were getting the ugliest part of the school building, with no ventilation. And I thought, no, our kids deserve the best. So my dream has come true. We're working out of this beautiful state-of-the-art theater, and where we have Broadway performers come in and work with our kids, and it's really amazing. So that's where we're.
But based. You travel to other places as well, right?
Exactly. We have classes throughout Los Angeles, and then I bring the Miracle Project all nationally and internationally. So we have a Miracle Project that I've trained at the Mayo Performing Arts Center in New Jersey, and we have a program at Brown University. We have summer camps, we bring our summer camp program to cities around the country. We have locations in San Francisco, and I have created trainings in Argentina, in Hong Kong, mainland China, and really have done Skype trainings, one-on-one consultings to people all over the world, as well as all over the country.
Okay, so even though you're based in Los Angeles, if those who are outside of Los Angeles want to participate in your program, they can. There are ways for them to do that, and then also the original musicals that you write. I'm assuming that if others want to participate or perform them, that there might be ways for them to do that as well. Is that correct?
Hilda, yes, absolutely. We have licensed our first play with Broadway licensing, and it's called Heroes Like Me, and it's about the superhero inside of you. and what is really unique about who you are and how that can save the planet. And that's licensed through Broadway licensing, and schools and individual companies can produce that play. We can act as a consultant, and those are available now. It just started in April. As well as we have people who come from all over the world to take our summer camp, to train with us here in Los Angeles. And my mission is to be able to impact and help as many individuals that need our work as there are. Sometimes I feel like that I have penicillin in a closet because what we do works. I mean, we work with everyone from non-speaking individuals to highly verbal individuals, from children as young as 5 to adults. And we have social skills classes where students who come to us that have been bullied or never had a friend, their social lives just expand and they become part of a community with those with and without special needs. Though we all have special needs in some respect. And our students are getting jobs, they're working, they're happy, they're social. We say we don't cure autism, but we cure isolation and depression, and that sense that you're the only one. So it's I feel
absolutely
so privileged to be in this community. And then many of our young people have become professional actors, and they're on the new TV series Atypical, Season 2 and Season 3. If you see the peer group in Season 2, that's kids from the Miracle Project, young adults from the Miracle Project. Another one of our former students, Kobe Bird, was on the Good Doctor. A couple of our other students have been in Disney shows, and Dominique Brown, as I mentioned, is just recording right now, and he was on Atypical, and he'll be on Season 3 as well, spoiler alert. So they're getting professional work, even though that wasn't the initial reason to start. We're starting a whole film training program as well as professional training. And really, though, our core mission is just bringing out the voices, the unheard voices of those that would not have this opportunity.
That is absolutely amazing, Elaine. Really, just the work that you're doing, kudos. That it just sounds fantastic. And I also understand that you recently returned from presenting at the United Nations with your son, right, for World Autism Awareness Day. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, what that was like, and what your son is doing now?
Yes, that was quite extraordinary. So my son, as I mentioned, is still non-speaking, but praise to Steve Jobs for creating the iPad, the iPhone, because he uses assistive technology and to communicate, and as well as sign language, but the most available to him is the assistive technology. And the United Nations theme for World Autism Awareness Day was assistive technology and autism. And they contacted me to see who I knew and what was happening, and I was able to bring, I'm very proud of this, I was able to bring 7 voices of non-speaking adults and teens to present at the UN, and my son was one of those presenters. And he, using his iPad, shared what it was like to be seen as non-thinking just because he was non-speaking, and how using the device and being able to express himself has given him a voice and a place to be and show how smart he is, how funny he is, and what he wants to do with his life. So with his life, he's actually working at on an organic garden called Shemish Organic Farms, and he presents all over the country. He received an award last year from the Autism Society of America, and he's going to be presenting at a conference in Washington, D.C. Area this summer. So he loves presenting. He's a semi-professional model. He had some background acting work on Atypical, and he's got a very robust social life, and is a very happy guy.
And when you mention about these young people who, so many people who are on the spectrum, they are so incredibly bright. They are so talented, so gifted. They have so much to offer. And just because they may have some expression or expressive challenges, that doesn't mean that there isn't so much that they have to offer and to give. And I'm so glad to hear you say that. Of course, who I immediately think of, and the analogy that I've used before, because my own son has certain expressive challenges, is Stephen Hawking. Can you imagine the brilliance and the amazing discoveries of that mind trapped in a body that just doesn't want to cooperate? And that's really what it is. We have these incredible young people with so much to offer, and their bodies may not quite want to cooperate in the way that they wish that they would or that they could. And so this gives them the opportunity to do so much and to give so much. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yes, Gilda. I mean, you have it so, I agree with so much of what you're saying. And people look at autism as a behavioral disorder, and it's not. It's a neuromotor challenge where the body doesn't, and the sensory processing difference, and everything that you said. And if Stephen Hawking was non-speaking from birth, then no one would ever know what he had to offer.
And
so
boy, wouldn't the world have been worse off for it.
Exactly. And Temple Grandin speaks about that often, where she says that, her talents were discovered. Her mom was so supportive of her having her own voice, but that there are scientists out there that can cure cancer. There are so many brilliant people out there, and that we just need to listen to, that they experience the world differently. And it's the neurotypical world that it's like we have enough of that, right? Well, let's start listening to those who may experience the world differently, because they're the ones that are going to find a different way of being in the world that will help all of us, that will benefit all of us. And
I couldn't agree with you more. I was listening to a presentation the other day, and the speaker talked about these differences and how these differences are becoming more and more prevalent. And what we now talk about as neurotypical or neuroatypical is really just more about neurodiversity and all of the different colors, if you will, of the human rainbow, because all of us, every single one on and off of the spectrum, are all part of this neurodiverse universe of humanity. And every single one has something to offer and something to give, and is a part of the bigger puzzle and the bigger picture. And I think that we are finally starting to come around and realize that, and I'm so glad to see it finally start to happen.
Yeah, beautiful. So important. That's it. We're all just different colors of the rainbow, right? And
that's exactly right.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
By the way, I understand that you are partnered with other organizations or entities. Did you want to mention them?
We partner with Brown University, with the Wallace Annenberg Center for the Performing Arts, and are able to, because our program is now evidence-based, our social skills programs, we're funded. Students are able to use their Medi-Cal funding to participate in our social skills classes. So that's been really beneficial. There are many of our students, including the ones that I've shared about, they come to us reserved in their own world, they've been bullied, they've been misunderstood, and we take our time. Our volunteers, our co-actors will just join their world and allow them for their own special qualities to emerge. And what happens is, no matter what the ability, the true person starts to come forth. And so we're really fortunate now to be funded for that.
Yeah. So they can use through Medi-Cal. You said they can get funding to participate in your programs. What about the regional centers?
Skills. Yeah,
the social skills.
That's exactly right. Yeah, through the regional centers. We're vendored through regional centers in California. And so the regional centers are able to, I know some of your listeners don't have regional centers as we do. We're very fortunate, right. But there's funding that you have to be vetted by a regional center, and we're able to have our program funded through regional centers, the social skills component, where we use improvisation we call it to rehearse for life.
I like that. I like that very much. And also now with self-determination growing and becoming bigger and spreading throughout different areas of the country, I think that could be a great benefit as well for people to be able to access your programs and your classes and so forth. In fact, this might be a good opportunity to perhaps just review a couple of ways that people who are outside of the Los Angeles area can access and participate in some of these things.
Yes, absolutely. With self-determination, people will be able to participate, definitely. We also work with arts organizations that want to serve diverse populations and underserved populations. And as we know, Gilda, also well as parents, that there's the special needs community is always underserved. So I think that's a great way to get grants. We provide trainings to theaters, to schools, to professionals, and where I can bring my team to your organization. And I also provide Skype consultations. I ran a summer camp at Brown last year through Skype. So I provide Skype consultations. I work with parents on how to bring out the best in their child. I only work with really 3 to 4 parents a month. I limit my availability so that I can really be of service. So I work with individuals, young people that are finding their place and help them to develop their talents. And I work with older adults who have perhaps not been diagnosed or misunderstood, and helping them build the fullest life that they can possibly build for themselves, and finding their talents and dreams. So I do a lot of private coaching, as well as my coaching for TV and film. And people can come to the Miracle Project. We do trainings where they can actually come and train with us and be part of our program. We train teachers, and we help organizations create the Miracle Project in their own community. As well as, I was thinking, we have 2 more plays that are going to be coming up through Broadway licensing. One is an anti-bullying play called The Intimidation Game. And that's for all communities to perform. I say, instead of performing Annie one year in your high school, perform The Intimidation Game, where it's a neurodiverse cast, and we explore bullying from not a preachy way, but a contemporary musical theater type of exploration. And so that play is going to be available through Broadway licensing, as well as you mentioned earlier on, the Miracle Project was the subject of a film called Autism, the musical. And the play, this will be available probably in April 2020, but the play within Autism, the musical will be available. So there's lots of ways that they can be part of us.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
Also, people come here to go to our summer camp. We have people from all over the world to attend our summer camp here in LA or the summer camp at Brown University.
Okay, so if people do want to get more involved as volunteers, students, campers, teachers, or if our listeners want to reach out to you and they have questions and want to know more, how can they reach you? How can they find you?
So we are on Facebook, The Miracle Project. You can also go to our website, which is themiracleproject.org. And as well, you can email me directly, Elaine@themiracleproject.org.
Okay, and you spell Elaine because a lot of times people spell it differently, so if you want to spell that out for people, that would be great.
Of course, ELAINE.
Okay, and that's Elaine at themiracleproject.org, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And for our plays, you can just go to BroadwayLicensing.com.
So is there anything else that we haven't discussed or gone over that you would like to add at this point?
Well, I want to thank you, Gilda, for how you are really taking these messages and expanding it to the world and really allowing people to see the possibilities, which we like to call the abilities of individuals who experience the world differently. So I'm really pleased to be here, and thank you. And to your listeners, happy to chat with you. I also speak. I speak at many conferences and schools, and I'd love to meet all of you.
Well, thank you so much, Elaine. I really appreciate, again, those very kind words. And thank you for your time and for sharing about your remarkable work with me today.
My joy.
I also want to thank our listeners for spending a part of their day with us. I'm Gilda Evans, reminding you to take care of yourself and that special person in your life.